And hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. A couple of things I want to talk about tonight. Sitting here, I don't know, in La La Land, and I forgot to get the show tweeted out, so tried to hurry up and tweet this out to my fellow tweeters so they know my show is on. It's just been really backwards the last couple of weeks for me. Seems like I've just been thrown head first into the Chicago PSYOP, and that's where I've been. People are like, where are you? Well, I'm busy. And you know what? I didn't even know what was going on and if the Lord wanted me in that or not, but He certainly does. And so that's where I've been. And so that's why I knew we were in delay hell for everything else. And so I know people are anxious. Hey, it's the end of October. You said there was going to be a pole flip, and yeah, that's what I was told. And then it was like, go do this for a while. So I knew it wasn't happening. He's delaying. It's his right to do so. He's woo-wee, Yeah, there's nothing, when I felt the delay hit a couple weeks ago, it was like, oh, this is it. This is the brakes. And we all hate the brakes. And so I have hope that something disastrous might happen this weekend and push something forward. Because face it, that's the only way we're ever going to get out of here is if something disastrous happens. Now this weekend, there's supposed to be a solar storm grid takedown drill, which means an EMP strike drill. And they're planning that to co-align with the Antifa protests, which these anti-American, un-American, want to rile up protests in the cities. Now, don't bite the bait, folks. Don't bite the bait. Don't take your John 3:16 signs and everything else and try to convert these idiots. Stay home. Stay home. Do not get involved with all the riffraff that's going on in the cities. It's always bait, and especially now, because we're like opening up Pandora's box in this country. And this is what I think the Father wanted me to see working on this Kenneka Jenkins PSYOP, is that it's kind of thrusting things into the limelight because it's almost like Pandora's box is starting to be open so people can see inside of it. Because when you get into this Jenkins PSYOP, it's pure hell. It's pure hell. And I'm going to do a video on this when I'm done. And I'm sure that I know everything because I'm still kind of wading my way through things. But it's literally like getting your first glimpse. You always thought you knew what hell was like, and especially at my level, dealing with these things. But it's like getting your first glimpse, just in your face, how they operate through humans. Because you always think you know everything, and then boom. Remember I've told you, I just did a video, probably not even 6 months ago, how one in four people weren't even human, or that there was 1 in 4 left that were human. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. And I live in the country, so I don't have to see this stuff up close and personal. But when you start dealing with Chicago, you realize why it's the mess. It's the mess. It's in all these cities. Folks, you got to get out of the cities. Get out of the cities. And if you live in the countries, in the suburbs, you get your homes orgoned. You get orgone around them because evil hates orgone. They hate the orgone. It's the only thing that's going to stop night terrors. It stops abductions. It stops everything. Now, I know people are always hating on me. But you know what? How many of us really love the Lord? We've been loving Him and serving Him our entire lives. And you still go to bed and you forget to pray at night and you forget to put up shields and all that good stuff. And then you're sleeping and they notice your shields are down and you haven't prayed and they just attack you. They just attack you. And the Lord allows it for whatever reason. And you end up somewhere, put in a dungeon somewhere, floating in the sky somewhere. I never even knew what astral projection was until someone pointed out to me in Psalms where David's talking about the silver cord, so apparently he knew about it. Because when you astrally project is when your spirit leaves your body and you're off I was up in the air, and you look down and you see this long cord connecting you back to Earth. Like, what the heck is that? I guess people in the trades know how to use that to their benefit, I guess. Who was that New Ager? Shirley MacLaine was into that. I guess you can learn to, like, do it on demand and go places and stuff. I have no idea what that level is. But they could just leave their bodies and go visit people or whatever. And I've known people that have done that. But you know what? Weird stuff happens, and the orgone is the only thing that can stop it. It's the only thing I've ever found that stops it. So it doesn't matter if you forget to pray at night before you go to bed. You're not going to get bothered because they won't come near orgoned areas. And especially when you deal with when you're looking at these people in Chicago and these gang kids. I mean, back when I was growing up, gangs were just gangs. They were stupid kids causing trouble. Now they've taken it to a whole new level. They're not even human. Look at these kids in gangs, and they're shape-shifting, and they're demons. They're not even like, I'm so used to reptilian shapeshifters. So you get used to seeing that, and then you're dealing with these kids. They shift into outright demons. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think this whole psyop, the JFK, because if you notice, Trump's just released JFK files. Now, that's the last I heard was he released them. I haven't seen anybody's videos on that yet. JFK was releasing his files, and what do we have? JFK protests, justice for Kenneka. I keep saying her name wrong. I guess Kenneka would be the African version. Kenneka's probably not even her real name, but all these people in Chicago have fake names. It's like you're born with one name, and like back in my day, they would change their street names. Were like nicknames, like what we have on the internet. Now everybody has a nickname on Facebook or whatever. You have your real one. These people totally change their names. They have their born name, and then they have a fake front and last name. It's not even street names anymore. It's a whole fake new alibi and alias. And they all go by aliases. And so now I understand why Barry Soetoro was Barack Obama, because they all have aliases. It's like the part of the culture out there. You don't really know who anybody is. Wow. Are you serious? Are you serious? It's a live show. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Yeah, I just lost complete power to this place. They knocked me off the air last Monday. They're trying to do it again this Monday. And so, we'll try it again. You know, they don't want me revealing the things that I know that's going on. And, you know, for the most part, I was going to wait to put a video out. But they're really mad. And so, you know, I knew when I got involved with this thing that the Lord was going to open things up so I could see what was going on. And like I said, it's like opening Pandora's box. If every city in the country was as evil as Chicago, and I know it is, such darkness, such darkness. And you know the others are worse. D.C., L.A., New York. We're in trouble, folks. I mean, I could sit here as much as I want to and talk about how bad things are, but until you actually see it, it's like, whoa. Being right isn't always great. It's not always nice. In fact, it's outright eye-opening. Folks, every year in this country, 1 million people go missing. 1 million. You know, when someone told me 2 years ago that 30,000 people were missing in Cleveland alone for 1 year, I was shocked it was that high. And this is after that whole thing with the 2 girls being held prisoners in that guy's basement in Ohio, in Cleveland. I mean, just a normal suburb house, in the ghetto part of Cleveland. But that's how bad it is. When people can abduct 2 people or 3 off the street, stuff you in their basement, and nobody knows you're alive. Nobody knows where you are, and you have neighbors 5 feet away from you on each side. That's pretty bad. But every year we have 1 million people that go missing, and the media and the government are complicit in the fact that they keep it quiet because they're all at the top levels part of the ones who are stealing the people. They're not human. We're not dealing with humans. And so all the nasty things that we've always heard about Dulce Base, and I did an article on Dulce Base. I've even driven out there. This is like Dulce Base on top of the surface. Seriously, this stuff's going on, and it's getting brazen because it's time for disclosure. They're getting so arrogant because they've been getting away with their garbage for so long that now just being exposed, it's going to throw them through a loop. I'm kind of enjoying it right now because we've all been waiting for Trump to come in and make some kind of changes and make America great again. And it looked like the liberals were just going to win and pounce all over him. They've been pounding on him since he was elected. He's had absolutely no respect as a president, no peace day or night from a media that hates him, run by the deep state that hates him. And it's made him look really weak, that he has no power over the media in this country to where they can just go on TV and bash him 24/7, and while the majority can do nothing about it because it's the media. Nobody owns the media but the liberals. And now we're going to start to see the script change a little bit to where the whole regime, the Obama regime, goes down. The Obama regime's going to go down. That's why I think this whole Crown Plaza thing's coming out. I think we're going to use it to try to make Trump look bad because Trump was friends with the hotel owner. Well, Trump has a hotel in Chicago, so he's going to know all the people in Chicago that are anyone to know. It's the who's who of Chicago. He's going to know who they are. Trump's not a shape-shifting reptilian. He's not one of them. He's not a sell your soul to the devil worshiper type person like they all are. In fact, Crown Plaza has more connections to Obama than it does with Trump. That whole regime is going to be exposed. It's going to be exposed. It's pretty bad when you have adults going around acting like 2-year-olds. And demonic 2-year-olds at that. I mean, it's just evil beyond comprehension. Now, I know last time I said that this whole Chicago thing was a satanic ritual in nature, and it is. And I've started out with a lot of opinions and said I'll probably change them as it goes, and I have a bit as you learn more, and the Lord will point more things out. Because the one thing I couldn't accept, even though I think I said it myself, was that the mother was involved. But every time I saw her speak, you could see the fear in her eyes. You could see fear, and that's real fear in her eyes. I know fear when I see it. And she's in fear. And so is the other daughter. And so I don't think she was involved. What I do think is she's being told what to do. She's being bullied and intimidated because I told you that creepy guy she's with, James Coleman, he's behind this whole thing with Carl Nesbitt. And Carl Nesbitt worked in the city of Chicago. I think he might own a club, but he's behind it. And Carl Nesbitt had a son. This whole thing wraps around in Chicago, gang retaliation and organ harvesting. That hotel is a huge organ harvesting pit. It's like the kind of hotel you would see in Hollywood horror movie, and you walk into the kitchen and they're sitting at the table with a knife and a fork and a drill. Is Hannibal Lectar. It's like going to have dinner with him. That's the kind of hotel this is. I would never eat food there in a million years. It's probably ground up hamburger or human meat. This hotel is every creepy imagination of hell you could imagine in a horror movie. They could make movies out of this hotel in Hollywood. They probably have. I mean, Rosemont sounds like something that would be in a Hollywood horror movie. But you lose a son. Your son gets killed in gang violence, whatever. You know how the gangs are. And so they can't retaliate against. There's a whole gang involved with killing Nesbitt's son, and so they can't go after all of them because some of them are in prison, they're in jail, whatever. And so you go after someone's sister. one of the gang members' sister, because that's what this boils down to. They couldn't get to the son because he's in jail on drug charges. So they go after the daughter, the sister of the gang member. I mean, is that crazy or what? This is a grown man. You know what I almost said? I've been dealing with these Chicago people for 2 weeks. Everything out of their word is a swear word, and I have to watch myself now because I get to watching too much of their stuff. But he goes after Kenneka because her brother was involved with the people who killed his son. He wasn't the one who directly killed his son, but he wanted the vengeance anyway. And he's all wrapped up in the murder mystery dramas. He's into that whodunit. And the Crown Plaza in Seattle has these murder mystery dinners where you can go and become part of this huge murder mystery dinner for the night. It's like comedy in a movie, except in Seattle at Crown Plaza, it's murder mystery and then dinner. That would be fascinating. But he's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with it. And I think he thought he could commit the perfect crime. And that's why he orchestrated this entire drama at Crown Hotel, because he thought he could create the perfect crime and get away with it because they had their bases covered. When you have the mayor in your back pocket, the chief of police in your back pocket, all the politicians in the area in your back pocket, there's not a whole lot to worry about, and you're best friends with the owners of the hotel. But what they weren't counting on was this little girl stealing the hearts of millions of Americans and getting involved with this story and getting involved with it and demanding justice. This goes beyond Chicago. This story has affected the world. There's people from all over the world commenting and watching the videos that are going on about this death and getting involved in all the Facebook discussion websites. And they weren't counting on that. They weren't counting on putting the hotel hell in the world spotlight. When you watch these videos and you watch security footage tapes, and I sit here and scream at this computer all the time, you start to see multiple crimes in progress. We're just looking for one death, to uncover one death, and you're watching this footage and you're like, that's not her, that's somebody else. And that's not an adult, that's a child. And you start realizing there's multiple deaths going on the same night in this hotel. This place is an organ harvesting meat market. And what's worse is when you watch the videos, the security footage, you see the organ harvesting medical team show up the next morning with their organ suitcases for transport. And in the security footage, you see Teresa Morton, and I told you I don't think she's involved. I think she's being bullied and told what to do because James Coleman made a deal with Carl Nesbitt. That creepy guy she's with, her handler, because she's an Eastern Star. But she was never up that high. People think you have to sell your soul to the devil to become part of the Eastern Star. That's not true. You can be an Eastern Star. You have to sell your soul to the devil if you want to get, at a certain rank or whatever, fame and fortune. And she's going to get paid for this because, yeah, they took her daughter and parted out all of her body parts and organs. It should be hush money. I don't know how much of a racket she can go on a speaking tour demanding justice for Kenneka when she knows who did it. She knows who did it. How far can she go? James Coleman and Carl Nesbitt, those are the two you have to watch. Those are the two who orchestrated this whole thing. This whole chain of events was orchestrated by those two. Carl Nesbitt, and I'm trying to make the connection, because if you hear the last name Nesbitt, Marty Nesbitt was the father of Sasha and Malia Obama, who gave their kids to Michael Robinson and Barry Soetoro, homosexual men in Chicago, so that they could form a fake marriage. Michael got surgeries, bought some boobs, kept his dinger, but became a woman, and married homosexual Barry Soetoro, who, I don't even know if he even bothered trying to pretend he was a straight man. But those two got married, and then they needed kids to fulfill the perfect American marriage. So these two girls were given to them to raise from Marty Nesbitt. And that's who Michael and Michelle, or Michael and Barry, raised all these years, were those girls, acting like they were their own. They were not their own girls. They were from Marty Nesbitt. Now, I don't know if Carl Nesbitt is connected to Marty Nesbitt. I was told that they're brothers, and then I was told they just have the same last name and they're not related, that Nesbitt is a popular name. And, I don't know if Nesbitt, I've never heard the name before, but I know that there's like 1,000, 10,000 other Shriners in this country. I know that there's 4 Sherry Shriners in this country. I'm not the only Sherry Shriner here. So Nesbitt could be a well-known name. I don't know if those two are brothers. I don't know if that connection exists. Maybe that's something for Alex Jones to pick up on. But either way, he works for the city of Chicago, and you don't get a job with Chicago, especially club owner, unless you are deeply entrenched in that scene, that gang scene, and he's Soul Scout. They all are. What's even worse is he wanted retaliation for his son's death so bad, he had his entire family at that hotel and involved with the death of Kenneka Jenkins. That's how bad it is. His son and his 2 daughters and their spouses all involved at the hotel during that party that lured her in that ended up in her death. An entire family. The one daughter gave Kenneka drugs in her drink that drugged her out. The other guy was the one who brought in all the gangs and set the whole thing up and taped the first part of what everybody's watching. It's called the Ty Live video. It was on Facebook. His name's Ty Rowland, but that's his son. They all used to have different names. The girls were both involved in some aspect of the whole thing. The one gave her a drug to drink. And it's all on tape. They didn't even hide it. So it's a whole chain of events that ended up leading from that into her death. And so I might get into that in a video. It's certainly just the different levels this takes using different Kennekas. One thing you notice is a lot of these girls at the party come in, they're all wearing the same things because they had these fake Kennekas so it would fake the security cameras out and people's video cameras, I guess. They used multiple fake Kennekas, multiple live cameras. You can't trust anything you see that the police released because between the police and the hotel, all of the video footage in the hallways has been sabotaged. They used overlayers to layer over her as she was walking in the hallway and said, oh, look, she's walking in the hallway, but they don't show you the 10 people around her, And it got so bad that the police sent out a redaction statement saying, we just recreated what could have been Kenneka walking through the hallways to the freezer because everybody was onto it. It was all sabotaged. It was such a bad graphics job, even though they hired a graphics editor. And one of the people involved with the whole thing was an editor from the Chicago Tribune. She's even involved with the Oregon, the administrative part. She's always in the lobby, and she's kind of like a middleman between the butchers and the buyers. You see the buyers in there in the mornings, and that's one thing. When Teresa walked in to find her daughter and was making a scene, she wanted to know where her daughter was, and it was the media's fault because they eliminated all the footage, not the media, but the hotel of the real emotions that Teresa showed. They didn't want you to see that. They wanted you to think she was just a cold-hearted whatever. This woman was upset. She was freaking out. But when she leaves the hotel, like a few minutes later, James Coleman shows up in the hotel, and he goes straight to the butcher manager and goes somewhere with him to get receipts. He knew darn well he sold all the body parts to Kenneka to these butchers. Yeah, and it's all on tape. It's on tape. And why would Carl Nesbitt himself, why would a 50, 60-year-old man be at a supposed teenage party? It was supposed to be a birthday party for one of the girls. He was in the room when Kenneka was killed. He was in the lobby, in the hallway, in the kitchen. He was involved in every aspect because I don't think he thought his son and daughters could pull it off by themselves. So as cocky as he is, he's kind of person. He had to go down there and be there himself to see it. Yeah, crazy. And what's heartbreaking is part of the footage. They keep showing this woman and child walking in there, and I'm thinking they're kind of weird. There's something with this, because what woman comes into a hotel at 2:30 in the morning and then heads to a kitchen? Someone who's trafficking kids, don't you think? Because people are complaining. They're like, look at the security guard. This guy, he's got a body in that body bag, and he's dragging it down the hallway. That's Kenneka. I'm thinking, that's too small to be Kenneka. That's that boy. That's that boy we kept seeing on security footage. That's how sick and deranged this whole thing is. And do you think any of these people, there will be a federal investigation into Crown Plaza? Do you think Hannibal Lectar would let that happen? Because that's like his. That's somebody is taking this guy's place, and that's his playground. I don't think she'll ever get justice. People are screaming, get the FBI involved, because the local police has already tried to cover it up. The FBI is just as corrupt as the local police. Look at the FBI people most of us have to deal with. They try to kill us. They stalk us. They harass us. I don't know what the answer is to protecting ourselves against these evil thugs, besides pounding them with orgone and finding all their dens and chasing them out with the orgone full, because that's what burns them. It burns them. It suffocates them. They can't stand to be around it. They don't care about your prayers, folks. They'll go out, and your prayers aren't going to chase them out of Crown Plaza. But orgone might, because it's already dedicated to Lucifer. It's his place. It's his place. You go into these cities, and they're dens of Lucifers. Get out of the cities, folks. They're not safe. 1 million people a year are being lost to places like the Crown Plaza because they chop you up. It's a human chop shop, and they sell you to the highest bidders who will just eat it. They don't care if they need somebody who needs a heart. They always want one who wants to eat one. They always have them. Anyway, folks, I will be back on Wednesday. And we'll see what's going to happen this weekend. Hopefully something to look forward to. Don't forget to support your favorite ministry on the planet. Go to SherryShriner.com. Click on the donut page. Till Wednesday, everybody. God bless.